we can start, discussing about your interview process. And
Yeah.
there we will discuss, definitely we'll talk all of like your interview rounds and all these things. And at any point of time, if you feel anything important which people should know preparing for this profile, you can always discuss those things.
Yeah.
So as of now, we proceed towards the interview process. And how many people were shortlisted for the interview actually?
8 people were shortlisted.
8 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Out of that eight, you got the offer. Only you got the offer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so your experience will definitely help the other, upcoming students, and because you are the only one, the firmware engineer who can share her experience, and
Yeah.
that might serve as a foundation for them to prepare, to start preparing at least.
Yeah. Sure.
So, regarding the interview, you can tell us the number of rounds, and of course, anything significant, obviously, the number of rounds and the focus, or of course, if you remember the questions that you can also discuss. So, yeah, so you can discuss the number of rounds and the interview process itself.
Yeah, so there were 2 rounds, and both of them were technical. So first round was the I could vaguely remember some of the questions. So first impression, as I said, that was MTP, and they started with MTP itself. Like, yeah, they were basic questions like tell me about yourself, and in a panel, 2 people were there, 2 interviewers were there. So they started with MTP, and there was a discussion. There was a lot of like the interview was for almost 1 hour. So like half of the time we were discussing about my MTP and the questions related to that. And as I said, it led to I have mentioned like wireless people would be knowing this a technology called OFDM that I was using in my MTP. So that like it was in bold. So they started asking me about OFDM and how it is implemented and its advantages, disadvantages, everything. And then they came to signal processing. So signal processing, I had studied till like gate level, and in electrical department we are offered one course that is digital signal processing. So most of the people we take it. So that like gate syllabus and that course syllabus is enough for you to prepare. So like concepts like upsampling, downsampling are very common. They ask this in almost all the interviews. Like I have attended interviews for 4 companies, and 3 of them at least asked these upsampling, downsampling, DFT, FFT, these things they ask. So there was questions related to these signal processing concepts, and then they shifted to some basic computer architecture questions like interrupt and ISR routine and some microprocessor, basic microprocessor things. And then they actually shared me a link, and in that link there was a like compiler and stuff. So if I edit, if I write a code here, they could see it. So they asked me 2 coding questions. They asked me to select whatever language I'm comfortable in. I was doing in C. So the questions were very basic, like given a 32 bit hexadecimal number, I had to swap even bits and odd bits. So my suggestion was like initially if somebody asks this, we would go blank. So how to like approach, how to start. So I was also blank, but the point is I would suggest keep on explaining whatever thoughts are coming, thoughts you get. Just keep on explaining. Don't, there should not be a silence in your interview. That is what I feel. And like interviewer doesn't know what is going on in your head. If you just keep on thinking and just write something, they won't understand what your approach is. So like this is a side tip that just keep on explaining whatever you're feeling, whatever your thoughts are, though you don't reach the final answer, but your approach will be helpful for them to evaluate your process. So I was whatever I thoughts I was getting, I was trying and I was explaining to them. So I came up with a code and it was running. But they said, then again they said that you need to optimize this is very long code, you need to optimize it and write it in fewer lines. So these things they were asking. The second code question was, uh, I don't remember, some sorting or some basic questions was there. So these were the questions, and they were then giving different inputs and get the output. These things were going on. This was the first round. It was almost like 1 hour or 1 hour 15 minutes. I don't remember. It was long,
Yeah. So
and
so yeah. So this was the first round.
yeah, this was technical.
Yeah, so like you mentioned that half of the time, people they were asking questions on your MTP only and the related stuff, obviously. So
Yeah,
I guess in case of core forms like any core form for that matter, so they focus on your MTP. I guess they focus on your MTP very very seriously.
yeah,
And
yeah.
at that time, your MTP seminar and yeah, these things play a very important role.
Yeah, most of the times, if your course projects, because I did not get any question on course projects, I had one, two wireless related course projects, but they were totally focused on MTP and seminar. So in my second round was also technical, and the panel members were from wireless background in the second round. So they wanted to check my wireless. This second round was totally wireless. Questions were totally wireless. So again, they started with my seminar this time,
Okay.
and they asked every concept related to seminar, whatever I had mentioned. Again, the things in bold came to rescue, and they were asking about that, and then again, I guess some DFT, FFT questions. All the like both the rounds, there was some wireless related questions, some signal processing related questions, and some codings. In the second round also, they asked me to code. I guess it was very simple, to find whether a number is palindrome or not. Like this sounds very easy and simple, but at that time you need to like think that the pressure is too much.
Yeah.
So at that again, they were like asking this, and I had to code it in different types, optimize it, and again they were like, use only one variable, use only two
Yeah.
variables, these things, and they wanted, and yeah, try with different inputs and these things. So yeah, the codes, and had to run it, and in their way, whatever they were saying in their way, we had to come
The
up. I had
constraints
to come up with.
they were giving the constraints actually.
Yeah. So a second round was also, and in the second round, actually, the thing is, they actually mentioned that they were impressed with my wireless section in my resume, and they said that it is quite aligned to the profile they wanted. So they were waiting for one more person to join, and wanted him to interview me. So like for 5-10 minutes there was a gap. Like we were in the meeting, but we were waiting for some other person. So now in this period, I thought of creating an impression by asking a question. They did not ask me if you have any questions. So I was like, in meantime, can I ask you some questions? And I asked them about the company, what projects are going on, or what Apple is thinking of doing in India. I don't remember the exact question, but I would suggest it makes the impression that you're not here only for the job and or money or etc. You are actually interested in the profile and you want to work with the company. So that creates a good impression, and you can try it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Definitely. So yeah. So means you should look motivated. You should sound motivated.
yeah,
Means yeah, and like the way you did that, you utilized that 5 to 10 minutes break into some fruitful or useful conversation. So
yeah,
definitely one should use that time. So that way, I guess in both of the rounds, you had some technical questions and a few coding questions,
yeah, yeah,
and there you had to write the code, means write and then compile it, right?
yeah, yeah, from scratch.
From scratch. So I
Yeah,
guess this thing is a byproduct of online interview.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because in person, I don't think this would be the case. You can write it on pen and paper. You can
Yes,
write a pseudo code, but
yes.
here we should actually make it run.
Make it
So yeah, and writing from scratch is actually like it's not very. People are not comfortable with it. People are scared of writing codes from scratch. But that's why I would suggest that keep on practicing coding. Basic also, it's fine. But they'll ask basic in interviews. They'll totally ask basic questions, and they'll test your basic knowledge. They won't ask applied, because as I said, the coding questions were like palindrome and all. We used to like do these codes very like in during BTech first year BTechs, or some people to have done it during plus two and all.
Yes, so yeah.
But we like tend to forget these things, and we lose catch of these things. So just keep doing data structures. And also, yeah, they asked a code about linked list, how to delete a node from linked list. So data structures and coding you should be comfortable with.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, data structures nowadays, means I think it is the basic of coding itself. You need
Yeah,
to know how to when to use a stack, queue, linked list. You need to know all these things.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
that way only you can write efficient codes, and that way you can use which structure to use when. You can do
yeah,
all of these things. And you also mentioned a very good point that while writing a code, just do not write silently. Think out
yeah,
loud. We people
yeah,
call it think out loud.
yeah, yeah,
You can reveal or you can discuss like I am writing this with this thought in my mind. So
yeah, exactly.
yeah, think out loud. Some people call it. I so
Yeah.
so yes, we discussed about so there were two rounds and each round like first round was around 1 hour and second round was again the same
Also, 1 hour, 1 hour.
1 hour. So in these two rounds, there were any HR questions or something non-technical questions or only technical questions were there?
No, only technical question. Actually, we were expecting HR round, but HR round did not happen. And I got to know from some other people, like in IIT Kanpur, there was these, apart from these two technical rounds, there was HR round also. But maybe in IIT Bombay, there was not HR, it was not there.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. We can first talk about a bit about this online interview or
Yeah,
online test for that matter, because earlier we used to have, test on the venue. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, this time
yeah,
we were connected online completely. And
yeah,
same for the interview. We were having interview here in the hostels, but this
yeah,
time we were sitting in our rooms, hostels, whatever. We did
yeah.
not have to go to the venue. So any what should I say that any good thing or bad thing about this online experience if you have to compare?
Like firstly we did not know what offline case is, and secondly online we did not have any reference for online scenario. Like
Mm.
nobody had. The placement team was also doing it for the first time, and
Yes.
they tried their best to do everything better. So like in online tests, actually there were restrictions, like you need a clear background, and your face should be visible properly. And like most of the time when you're at home you don't get a clear background or clear
Yes.
noise. Like some of the time the company used to record your audio also and screen also. So it's not the case that every time in home the place is quiet and there's no noise. That's not the case. So these little things used to like increase the anxiety of students. That was with my case also. Like I used to think that the lighting is not proper if it doesn't, like most of the times either it's manually detected or machine learning or AI detection. So if the AI doesn't detect my face and if it goes into cheating or something, these cases actually people used to be tensed about these things. Like apart from the study and these things, they were stressed about these additional things also. But eventually it happened and we got used to it. And during interviews also, like I for first day I had interviews all over the day, like throughout the day. I had almost like 7 to 8 interviews, and from morning 6:37 till 9 9:30, 10, I was in my formals. And and moreover, we were at home, so our runners were our parents, and this was new for them also. So I was in one interview, and my mother used to get call for the next interview, and this was happening throughout the day.
Yeah.
So it was a new experience, but finally, all well that ends well. So end is well, so all is well. So, yeah,
Yeah, definitely. You have rightly pointed out that you did not have reference to offline interview.
yeah,
Like you guys have not seen the offline, but yeah,
yeah,
definitely you witnessed the very first version of online interview, I can say.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and that was unique. But I think in the last, I don't know, more than 10 years, I think more than that even, it was for the first time that the interviews are being conducted completely in online mode.
Yeah,
So yes, it brought a few challenges, but definitely people could pull it off, and at the end, yeah, everything जो हुआ सब अच्छा हुआ.
yeah.
We can definitely conclude. Uh, okay, so anything like you feel that in your interview, of course, there were technical questions, completely technical questions, but you feel that there were some areas which I had not prepared well, or something like that. You feel that you might have done better in these areas at least, or
Um, some I as I said, I had attended Qualcomm's interview also. So they were asking a bit more technical. I mean, basic we knew, but there were some deep questions, correlated questions also. But I think I could have prepared more, or I don't know, but it's okay. Like at the end, whatever the new questions are, if you feel you're not comfortable, you can just give it a try. And if you just don't come with the answer, just tell them that okay, this is all you have done, all the steps you have reached till here. You can tell them, and yeah, you just can try. And like I believe that you don't vaguely, you just don't say that I don't know. Rather just try for a while. If you don't come up with answer, you can just tell them ki, okay, I don't know, or I'll read about it or something like that, you can say. But yeah, more for Apple, most of the things I knew, most of the things they asked about implementation of my project, so I was comfortable with that area. So and rest of the signal processing and coding questions, coding initially, like as the question comes, you feel a bit scared and you are not very comfortable, but just give some time, like 2 3 seconds, you will keep, like your mind goes on thinking, and you can start writing. Even if you don't, if you go blank, just stay calm for a while, breathe, and then start. It's very natural, and they also understand, and they actually help you out. Like if you are stuck somewhere, you can just ask them or just discuss with them, and they can help you. They're there to help. They just see how you approach a problem. Like if you don't give up the problem in middle, they, that is what they are checking. So yeah.
yeah, definitely. We should the first thing that we should not directly say no, even if you don't know the answer to that question. At least
Yeah,
give it a try, and maybe after a few seconds, if you are completely stuck and you are completely blank, then you can say that I don't know. But yeah, but you have to show the hope that I can read about it. I
yeah.
can do this thing if needed. And
They need to know that if you are thrown into some new world in the company, they need to know that you can try. At least you won't give up, or you should try at least. So yeah.
definitely, and yeah, this is a very strong point that that they are here to check this, personality of ours. That as a person, we will not give up whenever, even if there is something completely new. Then
Yeah, yeah,
we try.
yeah.
Yes. So, Rucha, I guess we have covered the interview process as well. And do you feel anything, to share about the interview, or anything, in fact, about the process which happened during the Apple selection? Anything you want to share?
uh, not only Apple, throughout the day, actually, as I said, I had 7 to 8 interviews. People must have been having like more than that,
Yes.
and you tend to be stressed and like you forget eating properly or drinking. So be hydrated and like eat proper. I know we cannot eat properly, but at least have some food because your mind should work at that point. So, like from morning to night, you should be in a stable mind.
Yes.
So that is one thing. And nextly, like one interview to another, like the
Back
if
to
you
back. Yeah.
back to back interviews are quite tiring, but you need to like keep on motivating yourself and uh, be in a stable mindset. So that is for sure. And like summarizing whatever we said, like firstly MTP, whatever field you're interested, your MTP, your work should tell it about you that you are interested in this area and you would like to work it in this area. You have this experience. The interviewer should know this. So like select your project in that direction. And as I said, the interviewer himself mentioned that my work is aligned to whatever they are looking for, and that I guess that was the point where they had actually decided that they wanted to hire me. So other people would have different experience. They would be feeling that course projects are important, but in my case, like all the companies interviews, they focus on my master's project. So for that is important. Secondly, like for as I mentioned, for interviews, just think out loud. That is really very important. And you just keep on talking, just don't be silent. And whatever thoughts are coming, if you're not getting, like, I used to say that I'm not able to think anything. I used to say this also. Just say, keep on talking. And thirdly, I mean, there are many questions we have, but whenever an interviewer asks that if you have any questions, do not bluntly say no. Just that gives an impression that you are just here for the interview. You just have to get done with the interview. You should not do that. Just come up with any not general question. If the question is company specific, that is very good. If it's not general question also you can come up with, but just don't bluntly say no. That is a very bad impression. So yeah, these things you should keep in mind, and rest of the things, as I said, data structures, coding, and your technical like if you even if you are approaching one profile, that is good, but you should be clear with all the concepts, and you should be comfortable with all the things you're mentioned in the resume. If somebody asks you things related to your resume and you cannot answer, that shows that you have just written things in your resume, because resume is literally your question paper. They can ask anything from your resume and you should be able to answer. So yeah, these some things you should keep in mind, and I think it will be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like this line very much. That resume is your question paper, and they can ask anything out of it. So,
Yeah. And
whatever.
it's like creating your own question paper. So you know the answers beforehand and you should be ready with it.
Yeah, ideally, you have written because you know about it.
Yeah.
So, at some point of time, if you are like, or if you end up saying that I don't know, then that might not be a good situation.
Yeah.
That might be embarrassing, maybe. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's so you should be thorough with each and every point which you have mentioned in your resume.
Yeah.
Yes. So I guess we have covered then the more or less the procedure of the selection process of Apple which they followed for hiring you, means firmware engineer. So
Yeah.
yeah, and okay, so then in that case we can. So I guess we are done with almost all the things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. so we can conclude the session.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for taking our time for sharing your experience. And I hope that this will serve as a lesson or as a motivation for the upcoming students. And just to reiterate, because Apple हमारे पास अभी कुछ सालों में आई नहीं थी, तो ये एक्सपीरियंस काफ़ी यूनिक होगा आई बिलीव, एंड लोगों को ये जानने में काफ़ी इंटरेस्ट भी होगा कि हाउ टू प्रिपेयर फॉर प्रोफाइल्स। और आप आजकल मेक इन इंडिया के वजह से बहुत सारे हमारे अभी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हब शुरू होने वाले हैं या हो
Yeah.
रहे हैं।
Yeah.
बहुत सारी कंपनी हमारे पास, दे आर नाउ सेटिंग अप देयर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्लांट्स इन इंडिया, assembly.
Actually, yeah, I read it somewhere that Apple actually shifted its base from China to India, and
Yes,
they want to develop. The office here is in almost developmental stage, and they want to grow it. So they need more employees for working in these fields, core fields. So that is why maybe Apple was recruiting this time all
yeah.
over IITs.
Definitely, definitely, and also apart from shifting their bases, the one another important point is that now 5G is also around. Means
Yeah,
5G is बस अब उसकी entry होने ही वाली है. तो
yeah,
almost all the companies they have to make some hardware changes. उनमें
yeah,
कुछ चीजें ऐड होंगी और कुछ चीजें
yeah.
मॉडिफाई होंगी डेफिनेटली. तो फॉर्मवेयर इंजीनियर्स का रोल अभी आने वाले टाइम में बढ़ेगा ही बढ़ेगा.
Yeah, exactly. When I asked the interviewer about, as I said, beach mein, when I asked him that what are the ongoing projects and what are we expect, like what they expect from us. So they were like they're implementing, they're incorporating these 5G, 6G wireless technologies in their devices, all the Apple devices. So that is the only case that India is also now on the verge of like 5G and 6G. These technologies are coming into picture. So we have too much scope now. Coming years, we like a communication engineer has too much scope to work on.
Definitely.
So yeah, one should be prepared with it.
Yeah, there's a very good scope. So yeah, so keep so that's why you should be focused and build your resume in that direction so as to grab your dream job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Rucha. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sudhakar, for having me. It was great talking to you.